Welcome back. I know it sounds unbelievable, but we have made it to the end of the week. We are chugging along. And now that we have these foundational concepts behind us, we can start putting them together by talking about markets and prices. So what this means is we're going to begin to think about broader structures, including how are prices determined and what do markets enable. Goals for today's lecture are to deepen our understanding of the role and place of prices and to deepen our understanding of markets. So let's pause on our videos and think for a minute on our own. What are prices? Take a minute to think about this on your own. And now we're back, we can explore what are prices with two very famous quotes in the field of economics. First comes from The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own self-interest. So take a minute and think about what that means. And then let's read this Hayek quote from The Use of Knowledge in Society, which is, "The marvel is that in a case like that of scarcity and of one raw material, without an order being issued, without more than perhaps a handful of people knowing the cause, tens of thousands of people whose identity could not be ascertained by months of investigation are made to use the material or its products more sparingly. That is, they move in the right direction." And think for a minute about what this quote means. And so from this first quote, what we say is, it's not that people are doing things out of the goodness of their heart. It's not altruism that gets us the stuff that we want and need, but the fact that we're paying them for it. Why am I here over the summer teaching you CORE180? Because Sweetbriar is cutting me a paycheck. And why are you here taking CORE180 in the 3-week? It's not because you love learning, although I hope you do. It's because Sweetbriar is giving you course credit for it and eventually a diploma. So how do we know what courses to take or why we should go to college at all? Because in this second quote, this Hayek quote, you guys know that because you are going to be college graduates soon, you will command a higher wage. It's not because anyone has issued a directive, but the market has driven the price of your labor up, moving you in the right direction to come take my class. So what? So we have a revolutionary answer to this fundamental economic problem we talked about last time. You have unlimited wants and scarce means to satisfy them. Well, now we have a way of dealing with this scarcity, and that's prices. And prices do arguably the best job of dealing with scarcity. Certainly not the only job, and we'll talk more about this later, but arguably one of the best. And what a price is doing is organizing information. And organizing information in this way by the price vector is enabling us to solve real problems. So take a minute to think about that, because to me at least, this is mind-blowing. And I threw a lot of information at you just now, but before we get there, before we can start to see how it works, how this market is driving us in particular ways, we need some terms. So the first vocab word I'm going to throw at you is, what is a market? And a market is just a group of buyers or sellers coming together over a particular good or service. We can talk about the market for peaches. We can talk about the market for shoes. We can talk about the market for labor, for education. And markets can take many forms and be more or less organized. With that, we'll wrap up this one lecture, think about some markets you know, and we'll come back in the next one with some new terms and we'll start to put this market together.